Namaste everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hrishikesh. I'm a Vedic astrologer and a numerologist. I already made a video on the 10th Lord, but it was very long. And many of you messaged me that it's too long. Please make it in two parts. So I decided I had time today, so why not? For all of your ease. So I'm going to, divide the 10th Lord video into two parts, okay? In the first part, which is this one, I'm going to talk about planets in the 10th Lord and what is the 10th Lord about. And in the second part, you learn about, 10th Lord in different houses. What are the results? Okay. Now, what is the 10th Lord about? See, the 10th Lord in the 10th house will show the motive of your birth. The 10th Lord in the Vedic term is known as karmesh. It's related to your karma. What karma are you supposed to perform in this birth on this planet? What is the purpose of your soul? What is the reason of your birth? All that will be known from the 10th Lord in the 10th house. Now, that's more on the spiritual side. Let's go to the non-spiritual side. What work are you supposed to do? Which kind of career are you supposed to, pursue? Which kind of field you're supposed to work in? All right. What things you have to look after in life? Which areas of life you have to look after? If you take care of those things, then the 10th house and the 10th Lord will give you benefits. So all this is, studied from the placement and the connections that the 10th Lord and the 10th house are making in your natal birth chart. And then we further study this in the divisional chart, D10, the Shamsha, on which I'll talk about in a different video. So this is how the karma of your life is studied. Okay. So I'll tell you in this video, in this two-part video series on the 10th Lord, we'll get to know about the spiritual side as well, as to what exactly are you supposed to do on this planet, why were you born, where do you have to focus your energies related to your karmas, related to your work, okay, in which direction you have to focus, and which kind of profession or, which area, which career you have to pursue in life. Okay, so you have my Instagram and website details right in front of you. So for those who want to consult with me, they can, connect over here. Now, before we move on and understand all the things about the 10th Lord, we first take the blessings of the Guru and the Ganesh so that the knowledge, the right knowledge, flows through in this video to all of you. All right, let's begin. 10th house. See, the 10th house will show the kind of organization that you're working in, okay, or the kind of organization that you can create, okay, or the name of the organization. So all these things will be, can be understood from the 10th house. It shows basically the company that you work at as well. Like I said, shows a motive of your life, shows the reason of your birth, which specific karma you have to do in this birth. That is shown by the 10th Lord in the 10th house. And if you fulfill that, the purpose of your birth is fulfilled. And then you move on to the next level. Okay. So, we also see Ayu, lifespan, longevity from the 10th house. The longevity houses are the first house, the 8th house, and the 10th house. Now, why the 10th house? See, till the time you have karmas pending, okay, on this planet, you'll be alive. All right, you'll have to fulfill them. That's a binding. The moment your karmas are exhausted, they are done, they're finished, you no longer have karmas pending on this planet. You have to leave this planet. You have to leave this birth. So that is the reason we study the 10th house for Ayu, for life. Is it a long life or a short life? The longevity of Ayu. Okay, so the 10th house is a very important house when you have to study death timings or health or longevity of a person. Okay. 10th house is also a Rajapad house, is the seat of power, Raja Yoga. Okay, so, a 10th lord making connections with certain favorable houses will give you Raj Yoga. And we'll study that in the coming slides. Also, planets, when we talk about planets in the 10th house or related to the 10th house and the 10th lord, ability, which I've written ability over here. What I mean is exactly how will you approach your work, or how will you be able to work? What kind of trait you will have when it comes to work. And that will be seen from the planets connecting to the 10th house and the 10th lord strongly. The natural significator of the 10th house is Mercury. Why Mercury? What is the first motive on this planet right now? What is the first motive for work? Why do you want to work? Why do many people work? For money. And money is Mercury is a significator of money. There are a lot of people who do not like their profession, who are not happy at their workplaces or of the work that they do, but they're still doing it. For what? For sustenance. For money. Okay, so Mercury becomes the significator of the 10th house, or Karak of the 10th house. And when you come to, analyze the success, the failure, and the results of the 10th house and 10th lord, we just cannot look at, just Mercury. There are other important planets as well. There are other significators, okay, like Jupiter. Jupiter is the significator when it comes to 10th house. Jupiter is the significator of success, whether you'll get success in your work or not, whether your efforts will materialize into success or not. We'll see that from Jupiter and how Jupiter is connected to the 10th house and the 10th lord. Saturn, when it comes to 10th house, it's a significator of failure, delays, obstacles. So we'll have to study Saturn's connection with the 10th house and 10th lord to see what is the outcome of your efforts. Will it result into delays, failures? Or if Jupiter is strong, then whether you'll see success. Okay. Sun. And when it comes to 10th house, Sun as a significator will show the resources that you require to accomplish your work, or what kind of work you should do, what kind of karmas you should perform. Moon will show the work that you really find happiness in. You get really happy doing something. It is seen from Moon, and Moon will also show the place of work, the environment of work. Where do you have to go to work? Okay, so all these significators are connected to the 10th house, and they have to be studied very carefully to arrive at the final outcome of understanding your karmas. Also, you have to perform the karmas. You have to perform the work. So the ascendant becomes very important. The lagna. So the ascendant has to be studied. The ascendant lord has to be studied in connection with the 10th house and the 10th lord to understand what is the connection between you and the 10th house. What is it saying? Okay, what is that sambandha talking about? What is it signifying? So all these things have to be studied very carefully by a Vedic astrologer for his or her client to explain to the client, look, this is what you're supposed to do in life. Till you don't do this, you'll see sufferings. You'll see obstacles. Okay. Moving on. What I talked about, how will you approach your work? What will be your trait or your behavior when it comes to work? Okay. So planets in the 10th house. Here there's a picture of Arjuna. Okay. And he had the ability of archery. He had Dhanu-vidya. He was an expert at that. And he approached his work with a lot of discipline, a lot of focus. So now let's see the 9 planets and how do they influence your attitude, your approach, and your behavior towards the work that you do. See, whenever Sun is strongly connected with the 10th house and the 10th lord, such people should follow discipline. Okay. Sun is all about discipline. All right. So your timing should be correct. all right? And your work should always happen on time, performed on time. There should be no delays, okay? And extreme discipline. So such people really find it difficult, uh, to work in those organizations where discipline is not followed, or where, timelines are not met, okay? So these people, when Sun is strongly associated with 10th house, see, if Sun is in the 10th house, it has direction strength. It is in Dikbala. It is very strong. Such people really have to, they really want to perform all their work, all their karmas, all their actions on time. They want to stick with the timeline. So if you have Sun strongly connected over here, and if you're not following a strict discipline when it comes to your work, you will fail, or you won't be able to achieve the success that you're supposed to. So if you have Sun there with the 10th house, with the 10th Lord, okay, get discipline into your work. So with the Sun, with the example of Sun, I hope you'll understand how we approach the further planets. Moon. See, Moon is very fickle. Okay. Depending on the strength of the Moon, is the Moon going towards Amavasya, or if the Moon is going towards Purnima, full Moon, we'll understand what is the strength of the Moon first. Now, when Moon is connected with the 10th house and the 10th Lord, okay, your mood, your emotional state, your mental balance will influence your work. If your emotional state and if your mood is not right, you will not be able to perform your work. So what is very important when you're Moon in the 10th house, the 10th Lord, it is very important for you to have the right state of mind, right mindset. Also, when it comes to Moon, such people can, have a good career if Moon is very strong, okay, without afflictions. Such people can find work where they have to deal with public at large, society at large, public administration, okay, public administration jobs related to the government, IS officer, okay, or something related to society welfare, okay. So now, depending, how Moon is placed in the 10th house, which of the planets are connected to Moon, the professions, the careers will change, but predominantly from the point of view of Moon, we see public at large. So you can have a career there. All right. Mars is again who gets directional strength in the 10th house. It's very strong. It's in Digbala over there. But Mars, carries the energy of Yam. Okay, the devta of Mars is Yam. So such people have a very strong ability to implement their work, and they can work twice or thrice more than their counterparts, their co-workers. The problem is that such people often get a lot of opposition from their co-workers in their office space, at their work. A lot of people will be against them. And also, when Mars is so strong in the 10th house, any organization that they start working at will eventually go down, or can even shut stores, it can close. The business can get closed completely because Mars is very strong. It's very powerful in the 10th house. It carries the energies of Yam. And such people, they need to work in roles where they're leaders, leadership position, because Mars is Agni planet. They have a very strong personality. So for them to be independent and to have a leadership position is very important. Okay. Mercury, very good planet. The significator of the 10th house, it's itself in the 10th house. So this is a very good position for Mercury to be associated with the 10th house. See, the peculiarity with Mercury is, when Mercury is strongly related with the 10th house and the 10th Lord, what happens is such people, they cannot do monotonous jobs. You can't put them, you can't make them sit at a table from 9 to 5, and you can't give them the same routine day in, day out. All right. For them, work needs to have different shades. Okay. It cannot be the same old routine. They won't find, they won't get happiness from that kind of work, where there's a lot of activity, a lot of people to communicate with. Okay. That they have to deal with a lot of new projects and new things. That kind of work will make them happy. But if you make them sit at a desk, long hours, the same kind of job every day, eventually they'd hate it. So that's the trait of Mercury related to the 10th house. Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the Karaka of, the significator of priest, rituals, religious rituals, okay, finance, advisory, all right, banking. So when Jupiter is in 10th house, you can find work related to these areas, okay. Jupiter is also related to teaching. So you can be a teacher, you can be a guru. But then with Jupiter is very, Jupiter gives a lot of importance to following rituals related to your faith, related to your religion. So people with a strong Jupiter related to their 10th house, for them it is very important that they follow the rituals of their faith. Okay. So such people will need time for that, and they'll give much more importance to those rituals than the work that they have to do. So they'll work for 6-7 hours, and then they'll be like, I have to go. I have to perform this and this ritual today. I have to go here. I have to go to this temple. I have to do this puja. I have to chant my mantras. Okay. But yeah, Jupiter 10th house, you can find success with teaching, with being a guru, with banking, with finance, with any kind of work that, where you have to perform, or where to give, you have to give advices to people. Advisory position, advisory role. That would be good if you have Jupiter connected to your 10th house and the 10th lord. Venus, excellent planet to have in the 10th house. Okay. And the role, or let's say the career, is management. Okay, people with Venus in the 10th house, they're really good at management roles. Okay, so you can go to a very high level in management roles in the organization, top management. It's an excellent planet to have in the 10th house. Such people are an expert at managing or being a manager. All right. Administration, project management, depending on, the other planet connected to the Venus in the 10th house, that will show which kind of fields where you can be good at managing. All right. Okay. Saturn in the 10th house. Saturn in the 10th house there's a plus point and there's a negative point as well with it. The pros and cons of having Saturn in the 10th house. See, with Saturn, you can work 24/7. You have no limits. There are no boundaries. And it's a great thing if you're pursuing what you like, But if you're working at a company, at an organization, they can really take advantage of you. They can make you work like anything and not match it with the pay. They can pay you much less than what you give them. All right. So people with Saturn 10th house, they can work 24/7. There's no limit to them. So if you have Saturn there, you make sure that if you're working 24/7, endlessly, limitlessly, you're doing it for something you believe in, for something that is, that gives you happiness. And be careful at your organization or at your company. It's important for you to have a good work-life balance, to have limits to the amount of work that you can perform in a day. Okay. Rahu. See, Rahu, 10th house, 10th lord, strong connections, it can make you a very smart manager. Okay. Very good at office politics, very good at creating office politics and groupisms. And such people are expert of taking care of their seniors and senior management. The senior management will always be a fan of such people, Such people can climb the corporate ladder very easily. Okay. Ketu. Ketu again gets directional strength, but the energy of Ketu is like the energy of Rudra. And also, wherever Ketu is, it shows the person being headless in those matters. So, Ketu in the 10th house, you're headless when it comes to work. And you work more from your intuition. And eventually, what happens is that you commit a lot of mistakes at your workplace. That's a problem with Ketu. But when it comes to matters related to spirituality or pursuing the highest knowledge in spirituality, Ketu is a splendid planet to have in the 10th house. Okay. So we talked about the abilities, the trait, and the behavior that a person shall have when it comes to perform his or her work with these planets in the 10th house. Now, in the second part of this video, we'll talk about 10th Lord in all the 12 houses, along with some, really great example charts. Okay. So do watch the second part. Thank you so much for watching this. And I'll catch you in the 10th Lord in 12 houses video. Take care.